Hello, everybody, and welcome to Decode REI. This is Mina Ricky.
Welcome, everyone. This is Lydia Korczak.
Today, we're going to be interviewing Senate Eskridge.
Senate Eskridge is an expert real estate investor who currently owns a managed portfolio of single and multifamily homes, numbering over 500 units across the country.
He has over 10 years of experience in real estate investing and more than 20 years of experience in business development, management, and sales.
Senate is a multifamily coach that teaches students how to purchase multifamily properties.
He hosts a real estate investors group in his hometown, bringing investors together to network and learn from each other.
Driven by self-development, Senate has completed numerous courses, including Dale Carnegie leadership training.
Hi, Senate. Welcome to the show.
Yes,
Glad you're here.
welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. Looking forward to it.
Great. So before we get into our official interview, I would love to hear a funny story to be a property manager and owner of a property.
You know, there's so many stories that I could tell, going into people's homes and, seeing the places that they live. Everybody's unique, right? And so when you go in, you see all sorts of different things from, different religious symbols or toys of some sort, whether that be, camping gear or kids' toys, or I've seen some people with guns or some people with like bows and arrows. They're just super interesting to me. And it's always fun to have engaging conversations. But the one that was most interesting to me, I walked into a place and there was a stripper pole in the living room.
Wow.
Yeah. And it took me a long time actually to figure out what it was. And I'm like, what is this bar in the middle of the thing? Is like something wrong with the ceiling or the roof or something? I was really quite ignorant about it. And we had a conversation, and apparently it is a trend for exercise to be able to dance on this pole and to be able to hold yourself up. I did a little bit of research, and it's apparently a really, really good exercise. I never tried it. My wife, Carrie, has talked to me about, once or twice a year. It's like, hey, you going to try that stripper pole dancing? No, probably not.
Wow, that's a good story. Definitely.
Is the roof okay?
Yeah, your house is pretty sturdy if you can install that inside of the house and do that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I felt pretty good about the sturdiness of that place after that, for sure.
I honestly don't think I can hold myself on to those tubes for more than 3 seconds. I mean, I don't know how. Yeah, but that would be the exercise, I guess.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. You have to be strong. Then
Yes.
it takes muscles of all sorts. You think it's just your hands, but imagine your core and your legs and your back and all of the muscles that it would take to do that. Well, and
Yeah.
the gal that had it was in really good shape.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, there we go. There we have it. Hey, so you've been getting all kinds of experiences. I mean, you already share a few without really trying all the toys, for instance. This is kind of a philosophical question, Senate. If you had known, because the experiences can be really good and really bad, and you have a really good attitude about life in general. But if you had known that you were going to experience all of this variety of things in this business, would you still do it? Would you still have done it if you had already known that it was going to pull your strings on both ends?
Yeah, absolutely. The answer is yes. And the reason behind it is I really like to grow and improve and get better and stretch. I'm one of the people that, is truly comfortable outside of his comfort zone. And so when that thing that they say that growth happens outside of your comfort zone, I'm always outside of my comfort zone. I'm just very comfortable being uncomfortable. And so that's something about real estate and multifamily and syndications in general is I'm always learning something new. I'm always finding new things to do and new things to learn. And so it really makes me feel good and exercise that goal.
I'm sorry, but I just want to stay on that topic for another second because is that a characteristic that you were born into, or is that something that you've been developing, working on, or how does anybody want to be uncomfortable. We kind of gravitate, not kind of, we gravitate to being comfortable. That is the whole, I mean, purpose of life is to be comfortable, right?
Yeah.
And you are putting yourself out there.
Well, let me clarify. I too like a warm bed. I like to go to the hot tub and relax, and I prefer the weather to be, tempered, right? I don't want it to be too extreme or anything like that. So it's not that I don't like comfort, but what I learned a long time ago is that I am not the perfect version of myself. And one of the people that I follow, his name's Ed Milet. He talks about his version of heaven is getting to the pearly gates and follow your own religious following there. But when you get up to heaven and you get introduced to the perfect version of yourself, and you are the same person, to him that's heaven. And hell would be that person is an ultimate stranger. And when I heard that, it really woke me up. And it made me realize that I had to do everything I could to grow and to improve and to become that perfect version of myself. And I'm the first one, I'm going to tell you, I am so far from that version. I know I still have a long way to go. And so that is why I've been out of my comfort zone, continually growing and continually improving. And with any skill that you have, you get better and better at it every single time. And because I've spent so much time outside of that comfort zone, now I'm used to it. Does that make sense? So it's easier and easier to go into things that make me uncomfortable.
That's a very good answer, and I love it. Talk about growth. I want to talk about your team. So, multifamily and real estate, it's definitely not a solopreneur, it's a team sport. Who's in your team?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I started in single family, way back when. And when I was doing single family, I could do it all by myself. And I was that solopreneur for a long, long time. And I got burned out. And when I started moving into multifamily, I started working with a gentleman by the name of Chris Carney. And he's a partner with me on almost every single one of my deals. Not quite all of them. We have done a couple of things separate. He's done some things separate. I've done some things separate. But he and I really, really complement each other very, very well. And that is something that I teach people a lot in my coaching and my mentorship, is to find a partner that complements you. So many people, they want to partner with their friends and the people that are just like them because it's easy, right? You come together. But we talk about synergy, right? And this 1+1 can be more than two. It absolutely can if you have the right partner. And I actually have 3.5 rules that I teach people about that. We could go into later if you want. If you find the right partner, 1+1 can be 3, 4, 10, maybe even 11. But if you find the wrong partner, 1+1 can actually be less than 2, sometimes even less than 1.
Yes, partnerships are everything. They can make you or break you from every level in life. I believe so. I was looking for a partner, and is looking for the person that has different strengths than you do.
Mhm.
Either in negotiation, for instance, we talk about it. I'm pretty warm when it comes to relationships, but then Lydia can go straight to the business and say, "This is what we want to do. Are you in or not?" And that's when the negotiation starts. It's just
Yeah.
absolutely perfect. I love it, and it is very important. And I can't wait to see you guys taking that partnership. Have you added more people to your team since I know you? I know your partner, but have you added more people?
I've
Or
actually experimented with a couple of different teams and gone in and done some work with different people on, so much smaller, right? So smaller is a different thing. So like one deal here, one deal there, I worked with, and then I've inserted myself into a team, done a little bit of work over here. Still trying to find that actual fit for bigger deals, but I really enjoy working with Chris, and whenever I can, I want to work with him directly. So no is the answer. I don't have a specific team that I have grown outside of that, but I have worked with other teams.
yes, and that is the joy of the surprise of living every day and finding what is going to come your way and who's coming your way and who's going to help you and having the wisdom to be able to see it through. Anyways, the next question is also kind of philosophical too, because coming into this business and, well, even real estate in general, right there, you're already breaking some rules of, find a 9 to 5 job, stay there until you're 62, and then retire. You're already breaking some of those rules so you can grow in every possible way, internally and externally. And I just wonder, what has this business taught you about the world and about yourself? Is there anything like you could share with us where you were like, I was amazed that I could do this, or I didn't understand how people would do that? Would you share some of that with us?
That's such a good question. And you're right, it's very philosophical. So this business has taught me a lot of things about myself and the world, specifically that human beings can do a lot more than they believe they can do. And let me elaborate on that just a little bit, right?
Mm.
So when I first started in real estate, I had a single family house, one single family house. And I said to myself, someday maybe I'm going to buy this 20 unit building. And it's actually 26 unit. I thought it was 20 at the time, but I know this exact building. And someday maybe I'll buy that. And that, to me, I believe was like the pinnacle of success. And the fact that I could maybe buy this building someday, that would be the best I could ever do. And over the course of time, I realized I can do anything that I want to put my mind to, right? I have made acquisitions significantly larger than that 26 unit building, not only on unit count, but also on value. A 26 unit building is worth maybe $2 million. It's not in great shape. And I've done acquisitions well above that in value and well above that in unit count. The biggest one I've done so far in unit count is 174 units. And so my point is, I believed I could do that, or I didn't believe I could do that at the time. And now I have done it. And now I've realized I can do more. And conversely, when I look and I look at other people, right, whether I'm coaching someone or they're one of the tenants that I have or something of that nature, and I have conversations with them about their future and what it is that they want to accomplish, they all have some limiting belief. And that limiting belief is their maximum. There's it's been said several different ways, right? What the mind can believe it can achieve. I think that was from Napoleon Hill. Dale Carnegie has similar quotes to that as well. John Maxwell has something similar called the law of the lid, which is, the skills and beliefs of the organization will put a lid on the entire, or I'm sorry, of the leader will put a lid on the entire organization. Long story short, that my answer is I have figured out that I can do anything that I set my mind to. And I truly, truly believe that now. I didn't when I first started.
But sometimes it just takes that extra, just get there. And then from there, you just get to the next one. And then from there, you get to the next one. I mean, for goodness sakes, we have a podcast, if that doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah. One of the things that I want to ask you is, how do you identify which properties is interesting to you? What strategies do you use? And red flags that come up at certain properties that you decide to pass?
Well, I actually employ several different strategies. I believe you have to look at properties from all different angles to try to find the right deal. I have great relationships with brokers where I spend a significant amount of time actually on the phone with brokers, between phone calls, email, text, developing these relationships. And I would say that is where I get the majority of my volume of deals to look at. But I also have a list of properties that specific properties I'm interested in owning. And I do some direct to seller conversations with them. Now, I don't do like a mass marketed direct to seller list. What I actually rely on there is a list of either wholesalers and or somebody I know calls them deal dogs, which these are people that do calls all the time, right? That's their job. That's their profession, is to cold call these owners. I've got good relationships with them as well. What I mean by that specific list of properties, one of them is that 26 unit I told you. I have a specific list of properties. I want to own this property someday. So I have tracked down the owner and I have found them, and I'm building relationships. And I truly believe that when that person chooses to sell, they're going to call me. On top of that, I'm also always looking for good teams of people to work with. As I alluded to earlier, I've worked with a couple of different teams that I can come in and help with the property. Maybe they've already found the property through their own channels, right? So somebody finds a property that's maybe too big for them to handle on their own, or they just need some help, and they bring it to me. So I've gotten several different channels to bring them in, and I'm always looking for more, right? So you always want to grow and improve. As far as red flags, the number one and really the only real red flag to me is if the property is in a really bad neighborhood, specifically something I call a war zone.
Hmm.
You can always renovate the property. You can change out the tenants, but you cannot renovate the neighborhood. Let me tell you
True.
another story. You asked about stories earlier. I'm going to tell you
We
another
love
one while we're
stories.
talking about it. So I'm touring a property. I won't tell you the city, but because I don't want to disparage anybody about that city, but I'm touring this property and I've been through it now for about 45 minutes, and I've been through 6 or 7 units, and I walk through and there's this hole in the wall, and it's kind of funny shaped. And I look up at it and I go, huh, that's a bullet hole in the side of the building. And I point at it and I say to the property manager that's giving me the tour, I point at it and I say, how long has this been here? And her answer was, I don't know how long that one's been there.
Whoops. Red flag.
Okay.
Mhm.
I didn't buy that property, just to
Of
be clear,
course.
right? So, because no matter what I do, right? If I
Yeah.
change the property, if I paint it, if I put in good windows, I fix that bullet hole, and I change out all the tenants and make this property absolutely amazing. If there's drive-by shootings going on the street, I can't do anything about it. So that's my really only red flag. I know other people have some others, but that's my number one.
That's a good red flag to have. I would also put that in my red flags. I actually at times would call sheriff department or police department and go and talk to them and be like, how often do you visit this neighborhood, especially this property? Do you know anything is happening? And a lot of times they would give me good pointers or be like, yeah, my detectives are always there. I'm like, oh, okay, good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
One time I was looking at a property on, I think it was Google Maps, and there were 4 or 5 police cars in the parking lot on the Google Maps.
Oh,
No.
yeah, nice.
I wonder why nobody's making any offers. So that's on the same journey that we have taken this interview. Where do you see yourself in 1 year, Sennett? What is it? I know you are coaching students, which is widening your network a lot, and you're also growing. We're going to talk about an event. Lydia will ask you those questions, but where do you see yourself in the next year? And then just maybe 5 years from now, what is it that you want to be doing then?
Those are broad questions, Mina. So you mentioned the coaching. That is something I really, really enjoy. I love coaching people. And so my near-term goal is figuring out ways to be able to grow that and expand it. I'm working really hard on different options, some that I'm not ready to talk about yet, but there's going to be some news coming out in the near future where I'm going to be able to be helping more and more people in that regard. It's just something I love to do. So there's going to be some of that. As far as properties go, I've got a pretty aggressive capital deployment goal this year. So what I want to, one of the things I like to do is to help investors invest into properties. And so I want to help a very specific number of investors and a very specific dollar amount of money to be deployed into multifamily this year. And if I hit those two things over the course of the next 5 years, and I do them repeatedly over the course of the next 5 years, then I'll be at the point where I can truly work because I want to, not because I have to. And I'm not there yet. Like I don't ever want to boast and make people, think that I'm better off than I am. I still have to go to work every day. I still have to make the money to pay my bills, but I am on that trajectory that over the course of the next 5 years, if I wanted to, I could go live in Bali. I could go do whatever I want to do. And I'll still be young enough to be able to enjoy that lifestyle.
And this is one of the reasons why we like to talk to people that are on the journey, not people that already made it. Because it's really hard for people to relate. Well, that person already made it. Yeah. If I had started when they started, I would already be there. But no, this is current. This is 2023. This is where we are, and this is where we're taking it. And we are really confident that if we follow all these rules, we will make it to this point by this time. And yeah, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be too broad. I meant in the business specifically, which you actually answered. So great.
Thank you, Mina. My favorite question is, Sanat, imagine you have a crystal ball in your hands, and you're looking at it. Where do you think multifamily space is heading to? And how are you prepared for those changes?
I believe that our society, specifically the American society, is becoming more of a rental society. I believe that long gone are the dreams of everyone owning a home. I talk to people that are in their 20s and early 30s, and they don't talk about buying a house. That's not something that they dream about. And then people that are in their early retirement age, they want to get rid of their home. They want to downsize into apartments or into smaller spaces. That said, I believe that we're going to become more and more of that type of a society where people are not buying houses, they're living in things like condos and townhomes and apartments. One of the spaces that I really, really like is a mixed use development. I haven't actually built one of these yet, but I've got several of them on my radar over the next several years that I'm going to put out. And really what this is imagine on the ground floor of a building is like a retail space with coffee shops and maybe a restaurant and a bookstore or whatever. And then the next 2 stories above that are like offices where people can work and play, or maybe a gym on the second floor. And then finally on the floor, 3rd through say 5th floor are apartments, and they can be at various sizes and styles. And on the very top is like a condo or a penthouse, for lack of a better term, and a really nice one on say the 6th or 7th floor. And if you really, really want to get good, you can put a parking garage below it. Although I also believe that cars are going to become less and less prevalent in America going forward. So I don't know that you need too much parking. That I believe is one of the most best models, especially in cities, right? As you get into bigger and bigger cities, you're going to see more and more of these types of buildings. So I'm really bullish on mixed use development right now.
Yeah.
Wow. I totally see that. I agree with you. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Like if you lived on the 4th floor of a building like that, and there's a gym on the 2nd floor and an office you can work in that you can live where you work, or maybe there's a co-working space. And then down below is a restaurant or a coffee shop. And right next door is a grocery store. You never have to leave.
Convenience. Totally agree with you.
Right. You are describing my current living
Situation.
quarters. Yes. And it's true.
You're a perfect example, Mina. You're a
Yes.
perfect example.
If I want to go to the beach, it's 5-minute drive. That's when we make the trip. But otherwise, we're just walking and riding our bicycle to the store and to the dry cleaners. And we love it. And it's, I mean, the amount of people attracted to that, we see it here with the prices and the convenience and the new builds that are following that same design. I think it's going to be a little bit challenging. I'm also on the land acquisition. It's going to be a little bit challenging for the government to allow a little bit more of that, more density in smaller spaces, because that's what people want. But then it takes so long. It takes decades. They have already planned for 2045. However, the shifts are coming, and with technology, they come a lot faster because now we see how other people are believing. So I want that. Anyways, it's going to be a big catch-up game for the government and all of that
Yeah.
Yeah,
to allow
very
it.
interesting times.
Mhm.
I know that you are very involved in your state and you have something major coming up. Talk about the summit. I want my
Yeah,
listeners to hear that.
absolutely. My wife and I run a thing called the Idaho Business Summit. And what this is it's Idaho's premier personal and professional development experience. So we have spent, I don't know how much money, tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars on personal development. If you count all the travel that we've done, the hotels, the flights, the food, the conference tickets, the mentorship groups, all of these things that we've done over the last, you know, 10, 15, 20 years, it adds up to a large, large number. And we wanted to bring that type of experience here to our town. And we actually have been talking about this for several years, probably starting in 2015, somewhere in that range. And we just talking about it and batting ideas back and forth. And finally, in 2019 is when it actually started. We started having the conversations. We're going to do this. And so we started this, like I said, Idaho's premier personal and professional development experience right here in Twin Falls, Idaho. And it debuted in May of 2020. So I want you to think about, that time. Everybody knows what was going
Oh,
on, right?
yeah. We don't want to.
We won't talk about the actual
Yeah.
specifics, but we just know that doing live events in that time was super, super hard. But we persevered and we did everything that we possibly could to make this thing just the most amazing experience. And we brought several hundred people together, literally less than a week after the governor said we could meet. Just think about that, right? It was tough. It was really hard. And there were
Yeah.
people that were
Wow.
scared and some people didn't come because of what was going on, but our community rallied around us and it was absolutely amazing. And so we decided we're going to do it again. And so I think I had my dates wrong. 2021, I think anyway. So this is the third year. 2023 is the third year. Thanks for that. I apologize for that mistake on the dates. Second year, last year, we did it even bigger and better. And now there were over 200 people in the room where we rent out a local theater and we put national speakers, people from outside of the state, people from inside of the state, some of the best personal development people on the stage to help you become the best version of yourself. And now this year coming up, right? It's May 10th, 2023. This will be the third year that we're doing it. We're going to have Luke Wren, who is a Tony Robbins speaker, come on the stage and speak to our audience and help them become, again, that best version of themselves. This is an all-day event. It's a one-day event. Starts at 7 a.m. with like a light coffee and breakfast bar type of thing with, scones and things. And then tons and tons of speakers in the morning. And then a lunch that we provide at one of our locally owned downtown restaurants. And then comes back with tons of speakers in the afternoon and one panel in the afternoon of some of the local business owners that we have that are just amazing and doing great things where we're going to ask them tons of questions. And my amazing wife, Carrie, is going to be able to interview them on the stage, which I'm very excited about.
Oh my God. So
We're
happy
coming.
for her.
We're coming. You sold it to us.
And then it ends with Luke Wren, right? Talking, getting everybody pumped up and all that type of thing. And after we're all done, we're going to have a networking reception that'll go from, I don't know, 6:30, 7 o'clock until who knows how long. Last year I left at 9:30 p.m. and it was still going. And just people networking, getting to know each other and exchanging contact information and just helping each other grow. We also have a VIP event that's going to be involved with, which is a little bit of an extra cost, but it's absolutely amazing for people that want to do that experience as well. So it's unlike anything else I've ever seen in Idaho.
And I love that because that's when our minds have been stretched, through the day. So you're in that different emotional level and the connections that you create at that moment are very valuable. I think probably you and I met at one of those events and
Yeah.
we're still friends. We're still high level. we don't call each other and talk about the weather ever.
No.
We're like, what do you think of this? And what do you think of that? And how can I do this? How can I do that? And that's because it started from that kind of level, emotional level, I guess, if I want to say. What else? Where else can people find you, Senate?
Yes.
The best place to find me is on going to my website. Pretty easy, senateeskridge.com. It's pretty, if you Google Senate Eskridge, it'll come up. I'm also on social media if they prefer that, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm not really big on Instagram or TikTok or Twitter, but it's on there. So you can definitely find me through that. But my website is the best place to get a hold of me, senateeskridge.com.
By the way, your website is amazing. I went on it yesterday. I was like, wow, that's a cool website.
Thank you.
Very clean, very straight to the point. It's something different. So people definitely get on his website because everything is there. You can find anything and everything and even video of you. That's amazing.
Yeah. One plug for something on my website specifically, if somebody wants to learn about investing in multifamily, I've got a great course I put together. It's Investing 101. It's under the resources section. There's just a ton of information in there.
I mean, we have the technology. Instead of saying it 10 times or 50 times, you record it and then you can send that to everybody. I love it. It makes sense. Right. Efficiency.
Free coaching.
Yep.
People pay a lot of money to be coached by you. And this is a free coaching kind of video. So folks, go there and, take advantage of that because, education is everything. Expanding your mind is everything. And come to the summit.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to be amazing. Number 3, my favorite number 3.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you, Senate, for speaking with us and to our audience. And we look forward to seeing you in May 10th in Idaho. Mm-hmm. And can't wait to see Carrie getting on stage as well. That'd be exciting.
It's going to be a great day. Thank you so much for having me, Lydia and Mina. I really, really enjoyed this chat. As always, you're two of my favorite people. Thank you.
Oh, we love you too, Sana. Thank you for, coming on.